What's going on, YouTube? So I bet at the end of the Slowbro video, you probably thought that Starmie was coming next. Well, it's coming. But Golduck has been a highly requested Pokemon, and one that I thought would make for an interesting run since, well, there's not really a lot of Golduck solo runs out there. Looking at its stats, they're pretty well balanced. Its stats are a jack of all trades, master of none. However, it's Golduck's move pool that gets me. We don't get an attacking move by level up until level 39 when we get Confusion. And we can't even learn Psychic by TM. I mean, sure, we get the typical water Pokemon TMs with Bubble Beam, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Surf. We get access to Body Slam and Dig, which is nice also. But we have just Scratch, Tail Whip, and Disable to deal with Brock. Which I'm not even going to attempt Brock until level 12, until we battle all of the bug catchers, the optional rival, and some wild Metapod for extra experience. And this first battle goes terribly. You want to try and set up as many Tail Whips as you can against Geodude, and then hope for some good luck with Scratch. Since Golduck has a pretty decent speed stat, it will crit pretty often, but I get this dumb idea to disable Defense Curl, and Geodude doesn't miss a tackle. And yeah, each one does 5 HP, and it knocks me out and I lose. The only thing we can do is level up more. I didn't bother trying at level 13, but I'm going to try again at level 14, and this is actually the second battle at level 14. Just like the first battle, you want to try and set up Tail Whips on Geodude. Ideally you'd want 3, and then just go for Scratch and hope for the best. Geodude annoyingly uses Defense Curl a whole lot in this battle, and you'll see that its tackles only do 4 HP when it doesn't crit. I've sped this up some, but eventually we do get by the Geodude, and it's on to Onix. And against Onix, it's the same as Geodude, you just want to go for Tail Whip. It's a bit easier to set them up though because it can go for Bide. You definitely don't want Screech and Tackle, and I get down to 5 HP in this battle. Onix goes for Bide again, and I decide to just go for the win at this point, which I do get. Unfortunately for Golduck, that Brock split took a while, specifically 49 minutes in-game time. But I don't believe all is lost with this run. I think it can still make up some time and make it up rather quickly. And it's gonna start in Mount Moon. In Mount Moon, after some annoying Zubat encounters, you can head left where there's the TM for Water Gun, which is going to go on our moveset right away. We're also going to pick up TM01 Mega Punch, which is also going to go on our moveset right away, but neither are going to be on there long term. And from here, we can wrap up business by taking the Superior Fossil in the Dome Fossil. And once we exit Mount Moon, we can get our post-Mount Moon timestamp. 1 hour 9 minutes in-game time. Golduck is already behind the 8 ball, but as I said before, I think it can make up some time. And I'm going to start by battling Misty. Because of her AI, she'll never use any of her water attacks against us, so Mega Punch should be more than enough to take care of her Pokemon. It does over half to Staryu as it just hits me with Tackle, doing 4 HP. We knock it out and can move on to Starmie. I go for Tail Whip because I anticipated her using the X Defend, and decide to go for another just to get some extra damage with Mega Punch, which does nearly half of its HP, looks like just over a third, and it's a 3-hit KO. And Water Gun, which was useful in Mount Moon for an optional Hiker and the Super Nerd and Rocket Grunt at the end, will now be replaced with the more powerful Bubble Beam. We can now go on and face Rival 2. He's going to lead with Pidgeotto, who opens up with a quick attack, and Bubble Beam does well over 3/4 to it. Since it doesn't go for quick attack again, we outspeed, we're able to knock it out. Both Abra and Rattata go down to a Mega Punch and Bubble Beam, and last is Bulbasaur. And thanks to a critical hit with Mega Punch, we knock it out in one blow. With the rival out of the way, we can move on to Nugget Bridge, and there's no trainer here that poses any problem. I thought the last right before Bill's house would, but thanks to good PP management, I have enough Mega Punches and a Bubble Beam left over to take care of her Oddish and Pidgey. Golduck can also learn Dig, which is great for our moveset considering Lieutenant Surge is the next gym leader. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the SSN, where we can battle the one youngster in here to pick up TM08 Body Slam, which will replace Mega Punch on our moveset. We've also got Dig now, which I mentioned before, and we can go ahead and battle Rival 3 next. And I forget to heal before this battle, but it doesn't make a difference. The rival leads with Pidgeotto. It goes for Quick Attack, which is good. I don't want Sand Attack. Bubble Beam nearly one-shots it. We take it out the next turn. Against Raticate, I go for Bubble Beam again. It is a one-shot against it. Kadabra's next. I switch to Body Slam for it. It's a one-shot, and all we have left to deal with is Ivysaur, which thanks to a lucky critical hit, we're able to one-shot it with Body Slam. Normally in these runs with a water Pokemon, I would opt to skip Lieutenant Surge because, well, the type mismatch. But since we have Dig on our moveset, I think Golduck might be able to pull this one off. Both Voltorb and Pikachu are one-shots with Body Slam, and it's just a matter of outspeeding Raichu, which we do, and Dig is able to get the one-shot on it. Surge out of the way is a good thing. It means we don't have to backtrack later, and when we get Fly, we'll have access to it right away. Rock Tunnel is the next place we have to go through, so let's just pick it up at the end of Rock Tunnel. Our post-Rock Tunnel timestamp is 1 hour 53 minutes. And although that time isn't as good as Seeking's or Slowbro's, I think thanks to Golduck's moves that it'll get access to, it'll be able to make up time to beat Seeking's time, but not Slowbro. And it's going to start at the Celadon Game Corner, where we're going to take on Giovanni. And in this battle, as a water type, you really only worry about Kangaskhan because it could potentially knock you out, but that's not likely. In this battle though, Kangaskhan just goes down to as many Bubble Beams as it took Rhyhorn and Onix combined. With Giovanni out of the way and the Silph Scope in hand, we're going to do some Celadon shopping and selling. I start by selling off some TMs and items that we're never going to use, and buy a Pokédoll just in case we need Mimic. I then buy 3 Calciums to boost our special, and finally, I'm going to give the little girl a Freshwater to get TM13 Ice Beam. It's going to go on my moveset right away. I then pick up Fly and head straight to Lavender Town to Pokemon Tower to face Rival 4. He leads with Pidgeotto. I'm going to rearrange my moves and then go for Ice Beam. It's a one-hit KO. Gyarados is next. I go for Body Slam against it, and man, if only Seeking could have learned this move. He retaliates with Dragon Rage as we knock it out with a second Body Slam. Growlithe goes down to 1 Bubble Beam. Against Kadabra, we have Body Slam for it, and it's a one-hit KO, and all that's left is Ivysaur. I go for Body Slam, don't knock it out, we do paralyze it, Vine Whip doesn't do much in retaliation, and we're able to knock it out the next turn. Pokemon Tower doesn't slow down Golduck at all, so we need to decide, do we want to head to Fuchsia next? Perhaps Silphco? Or maybe even take on Erica? Unfortunately, Golduck cannot learn Earthquake, so we don't even need to make a pit stop in Silphco. We're going to head to Cycling Road next, and I'm not going to battle a bunch of optional trainers like I did with Seeking. I don't think Golduck needs that extra training. I am going to go through the Safari Zone first, however, because I want to pick up Surf. And I know in more recent videos I've talked about how I don't like to teach Surf because it really restricts your moveset because you can't delete HM moves. However, I don't see Golduck's moveset changing much from now until the endgame. Yeah, we might replace Ice Beam with Blizzard, and we might replace a move with Mimic for one battle, but other than that, I think Dig and everything else is on our moveset to stay. We can hop right into the battle with Koga from here, and putting Surf on our moveset actually really helps out for this battle. It does over 3/4 to Coughing number 1, who just goes for Smog. We're able to knock it out the next turn. We level up going into Muck, who has more bulk. I decide to go for Dig against it, which doesn't one-hit KO it. It does about 3/4, and then it goes for Minimize. I should have went for Surf from here, but instead I go for another Dig. Thankfully we do hit, we knock it out. Coughing number 2, I go for Dig against it. It is a one-shot thanks to the crit, and all that's left is Wheezing. Watching the footage back, I really should have just went for Dig. I went for Ice Beam trying to get a freeze because I was afraid of it blowing up on me, but Ice Beam is able to get the KO over 3 turns. That's 5 gym badges down, and you might be thinking, where are we gonna head next? Well, normally I would go to Silphco, but I think I'm gonna head to Cinnabar next. We have the type advantage over Blaine, and his gym is good for training to get us just a few extra levels for Rival Fivel. Plus, within Cinnabar Mansion, there's 2 extra rare candies and the TM for Blizzard we can pick up. And as far as the battle against Blaine himself, I'm not going to narrate it. It's a one-shot sweep with Surf. There really isn't much to see here, though we do get lucky critical hits against the Rapidash and the Arcanine. Before heading to Silphco though, I'm going to backtrack to Celadon City. We still have to battle Erica, and now that we're at a high enough level, I don't think Victory Bell is going to be a problem one-shotting us with Razor Leaf. And just as you'd expect, as we're 13 levels higher, we one-shot all of her Pokemon with Ice Beam. Now we can head to Silphco to battle our rival, Viddy, for the 5th time. But you might be wondering, who is Viddy? Well, Viddy, or Video Gyochi, Viddy if I pronounce that incorrectly, let me know in the comments. But anyway, Viddy, he's a Twitch streamer. Streams a lot of Zelda, recently streamed some Super Mario RPG. He even has a YouTube channel of all of his VODs. Great guy in Scott's Thoughts community Discord server. Give him a follow, pop in on a stream, say hello, spam the duck vibe emotes. That's one of my personal favorites. I can't believe it took me this long into the challenge to realize I hadn't shouted out Viddy, but now we're going to battle him. Pidgeot is the lead. It goes for Quick Attack, not doing much. Ice Beam takes it out. Out comes the problem child Gyarados. We get a lucky crit with Body Slam, as it gets a lucky crit with Bite. We're able to take it out the next turn. Up next is Growlithe. It's gonna go down in one Surf, so we can just start to worry about Alakazam. I'm hoping that Body Slam will be able to one-shot it. It unfortunately doesn't. It hits me with a weak Confusion. We take it out the next turn and have to deal with Venusaur. It's a good thing we don't have a badge boosting move since we level. Ice Beam does over half, and it goes for Leech Seed. Had it gone for Razor Leaf, we would have lost, but that's a first try victory over Viddy 5. We can now go ahead and battle Giovanni, and this one is easy as always. His entire team is a one-shot sweep with Surf. We even one-shot Kangaskhan thanks to the critical hit. The only gym badges we have left are Sabrina and Giovanni for the final time, so we're going to go ahead and battle Sabrina now. Golduck is beyond 3 hours in-game time at 3:02, but I think it can still finish in under 4 hours in-game time. It's a good thing her Pokemon are physically frail and we have a decent attack and speed stat. She leads with Kadabra, Body Slam gets the one-shot. We level up going into the Mr. Mime, who isn't one-shot with Body Slam, but we do paralyze it. It hits me with a weak double slap that hits 5 times to just waste my time. We knock it out the next turn, and we're moving on to Venomoth. Venomoth decides it wants to be a pain like in the Sanqui runs. Surf can't one-shot it, and it paralyzes me with Stun Spore. It then hits me with Psybeam as we knock it out the following turn and move on to Alakazam. It goes for a turn 1 Reflect, but thanks to a critical hit with Body Slam, we get the one-shot. All we have left is Giovanni. I do make a little bit of a mistake here. I should have went and got Mimic after beating Sabrina, but I do pick it up later on. And man, I wish Golduck could learn Psychic because it would just make this thing's moveset amazing. And we can just jump into the Giovanni fight now, and just like the last one, his team is a complete one-shot sweep with Surf. And aside from the mandatory trainers, I did battle a few extra trainers in Giovanni's gym, namely the trainer with the Nidorino and Nidoking that's right before him that you can talk to. I wanted to be as close to level 50 as I could without bloating Golduck's time too much more by taking on a bunch of optional battles. Which, speaking of battles, the only battles we have left are Viddy 6, the Elite 4, and Champion Viddy. So let's hop right into the Viddy 6 battle. He leads with Pidgeot. Ice Beam can't get the one-shot. He thankfully just goes for Agility and then a Retroactive Potion. We knock him out on the next turn. Next is Rhyhorn. It's gonna go down to one Surf, and now we have the problem child Gyarados. Just like in the Viddy 5 battle, we get a nice critical hit with Body Slam. Gyarados goes for Leer to further badge boost us. We knock it out the next turn. Next is Growlithe. Surf gets the one-shot, and we're going to level up going into the Alakazam, getting another damage rounding threshold. Body Slam does over half and paralyzes it. Unfortunately, it gets through with Psybeam. We knock it out the next turn, and we have to deal with Venusaur now. Just don't go for Razor Leaf. Ice Beam can't get the one hit, and it goes for Razor Leaf. A bit disappointing, but I'm going to pop some rare candies to bring us up to level 53 and try again. This time, Pidgeot is a one-shot with Ice Beam, and Rhyhorn is still a one-shot with Surf. You can see how much the critical hit mattered with Gyarados because Body Slam is now a 3-hit KO. It does get off a bite against us, but it did badge boost us with Leer. Growlithe is still a one-shot with Surf, and Alakazam we still can't one-hit KO with Body Slam, and it gets off a Psychic against us. Thankfully no special drop, we're able to knock it out. Moving on to Venusaur once again. Ice Beam does over half, and it goes for Vine Whip this time. Vine Whip doesn't have the same power as Auto Crit Razor Leaf, that's Vidi 6 defeated. And now it's time to talk about the league. And honestly, I think the biggest problem is going to be Champion Vidi. That Venusaur and its Crit Razor Leaf will definitely one-shot us. I have a plan for Lorelei, and Bruno, there's really not much to say there. We have Dig for Agatha, and we have Ice Beam for Lance, which I'll probably upgrade to Blizzard when that time comes. There are a few optional trainers in Victory Road that I battle that provide some good experience, along with picking up the rare candy. By the time we reach the league, we're at level 57, and our timestamp outside of Lorelei's chamber is 3 hours and 30 minutes. And you're actually going to see me reset against Lorelei here. I mentioned that I had a plan for her, but I forgot to put it into action. That plan is Mimic. Essentially, I was going to mimic Amnesia from Slowbro, and just try to get through the rest of her team by just using Surf. Well, here's round 2, and it starts out the worst possible way. Body Slam is doing about a quarter to Dugong, as it uses Growl on me twice. I switched to Surf because it's doing more damage at this point, and I just don't want to see rest. Lorelei keeps going for Super Potions. Dugong goes for Takedown, and we're able to knock it out. Cloyster's next, and it has worse special. Surf looks like it's about a 3-hit KO, and it misses Supersonic and goes for Spike Cannon, which only hits twice. We're able to knock it out rather quickly. And now here comes Slowbro. I mimic Amnesia, use it once, and then go for Surf, which does over half to Slowbro, and then I set up 2 more Amnesias and knock it out. Jinx goes down in 1 Surf, and all that's left is Lapras. Surf is not able to get the one-shot on it, and its Body Slam paralyzes me. It then goes for Confuse Ray, I get stuck in Parahacks, the next turn I hit myself, and I'm starting to get worried. But I get through with Surf on the 3rd turn, and that's Lorelei defeated. Next up is Bruno, and as you would expect, there really isn't much to say about his battle. All of his Pokemon are a complete one-shot sweep with Surf, with the exception of Machamp, who takes 2 Surfs. And Game Freak could have done so much better with Bruno, like why not give him a Poliwrath and a Primeape? Which, Poliwrath video in the works, it's coming to the channel. But anyway, Bruno is out of the way, we have Agatha next. And we have Dig on our moveset, and we should be able to outspeed all of her Ghost. Well, we do outspeed the first Gengar, Dig is able to get the one-shot on it. We level up to level 59, we're not going to learn Hydro Pump. We have Surf, and well, Surf is more accurate and has more PP. Speaking of Surf, it's a 2-shot on Golbat. It does hit me with Wing Attack, but it doesn't do a lot. We knock it out, and I'm gonna spare you guys the rest of this battle because the remaining 3 Pokemon are all one-shots with Dig. With Agatha out of the way, we can move on to Lance, and you're going to see me teach Blizzard over the place of Dig. There's really no need for Dig anymore in the run. All of Lance's Pokemon except the Dragonairs are immune to it. And it doesn't really have much use against the champion. Like, yes, it's super effective against Arcanine and Rhydon, and could hit Alakazam pretty hard. But we have, Surf for the Rhydon and the Arcanine, and Body Slam is more than enough for Alakazam. But enough rambling about what's to come, let's get into the Lance battle. Body Slam looks like it's about a 4-hit KO, and I decide to switch to Blizzard to test damage. It's doing about half. Thankfully, we can knock it out with another Body Slam. And from here, the battle is yours. Blizzard one-shots all of his remaining Pokemon. Aerodactyl gives us a bit of a scare because it does get off a Hyper Beam, but I think even if it had crit, we would have survived, yet probably on red HP, but we would have survived. We are moving on to Champion Vidi. all I'm gonna do is heal up and jump right into it. I have a pretty good feeling Golduck is gonna be able to do this on its second attempt through the league, since we did have to reset due to player error on the first attempt. Anyway, Pidgeot is the lead. I go for Blizzard, we do outspeed it, it's a one-shot. We level up going into Alakazam. We do outspeed it, Body Slam is not enough for the one-shot, and Psybeam does about a quarter of our health. We can knock it out the next turn though, and we only have 4 Pokemon left. Rhydon is going to be an easy one-shot with Surf. 3 Pokemon left, but unfortunately the next one is Gyarados. I go for Blizzard just to see how much it does, and thanks to a critical hit we do over half. Gyarados hits me with Hyper Beam, doing almost 100 HP. I go for Body Slam and we get another critical hit to knock it out. Arcanine will be a one-shot with Surf. It's weird that the Surf animation didn't display there, but last is Venusaur. We level up going into it. I go for Blizzard, and look at that, another critical hit. Did the crit matter? Probably. Am I going to take the win anyway? Absolutely. And although it had a bit of a longer Brock split due to having Scratch, Tail Whip, and Disable, Golduck really bounced back thanks to its superior stats and move pool compared to a Pokemon like Seeking. And because of that, Golduck is definitely not going to rank as the worst water Pokemon in Gen 1. But it's not the best. It's definitely middle of the pack. Level 62 with a final in-game time of 3 hours and 43 minutes. I'm not going to post the tier list because, as I've mentioned before, it does contain spoilers with Pokemon that I have ran that have yet to come to the channel. The link is in the description, so that is your warning. However, if I were to rank Golduck on the overall tier list to include the Sanqui runs, I'd put it middle of the pack of the B tier. It'd be sandwiched between Dugong and Regirock. However, if we're going Kanto only, then I would put it at the bottom of the B tier. As always, thank you for the continued support on the channel. We've still got this run on with water Pokemon, and I've got a few Sanqui runs that I had pre-recorded that will be coming to the channel as well, which do contain some water Pokemon that will surprise you. I'm going to try to get another video out for New Year's Eve, and possibly one for New Year's Day, so if you're someone who doesn't go out and party, or you're someone that does and then you're hungover the next day, well, you've got something to watch while you recover. I'm gonna get started working on those. Catch you in the next one. Take care, everybody.